Well, hello everyone and happy Wednesday. It is digital host A.J. Wuest welcoming you back to Before the Four, the live stream where I take you through 48's top news stories and then some before our 4 o'clock newscast. A lot happened over the night, so I am going to just go ahead and jump into some of today's top stories. But of course, wherever you are watching right now, whether it is YouTube, whether it's Facebook, or the 48 Now live stream, thank you so much for watching and spending just a bit of your Wednesday afternoon with me here. Now, starting things off with some national news, America has chosen its next president. Former President Donald Trump taking the victory over Vice President Kamala Harris in what appears to be a landslide victory. Trump tacking on several battleground states overnight, including North Carolina, Georgia, Pennsylvania, and Michigan, sealing him the electoral votes needed to become president. And a big day for Republicans in general, with the GOP claiming Senate control and currently leading in the House. Trump is now the only president besides Grover Cleveland to become a split-term president. And NBC's Garrett Hake has more.
Look what happened. Is this crazy?
Overnight, a stunning victory for Donald Trump, with NBC News projecting the 45th president is now set to serve again as the nation's 47th.
This will truly be the golden age of America.
The former president flipping back critical battlegrounds he lost in 2020, celebrating his victory with supporters in the early morning hours.
This will forever be remembered as the day the American people regained control of their country.
Trump trading in his often fiery rhetoric, instead calling for unity.
It's time to put the divisions of the past 4 years behind us. It's time to unite. And we're going to try.
Though notably not mentioning President Biden or Vice President Harris or their supporters in his remarks. Instead, focusing on his next term with a Republican-controlled Senate.
America has given us an unprecedented and powerful mandate.
On stage with his family, Trump also touting several high-profile allies, including Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who he said will have a role in his next administration, and spending several minutes praising billionaire Elon Musk, who spent tens of millions of dollars supporting Trump's campaign.
We have a new star. A star is born, Elon.
Running mate J.D. Vance also taking the stage.
We just witnessed the greatest political comeback in the history of the United States of America.
The former president winning with a coalition driven by white voters, men, and first-time voters, a group he lost in 2020 but won this year.
They came from all corners, union, non-union, African-American, Hispanic-American, Asian-American, Arab-American, Muslim-American. We had everybody, and it was beautiful.
During the campaign, Trump had focused heavily on immigration, painting the immigration debate in dark terms.
Black voters are furious with Kamala over illegal immigration. It's destroying their communities.
His support with black and Latino voters higher in key swing states. Latino men in particular flocking to Trump, favoring him by a 10-point margin after backing Joe Biden by 23 points 4 years ago. The economy also a major focus, tying Harris to incumbent President Biden, also seeming to pay off with voters in the all-important Midwest states, as Trump reflects on his last campaign.
His campaign has been so historic in so many ways.
And looks ahead to leading a divided country.
We're going to help our country heal.
Well, thank you, Garrett. And today, 48's Daquan Lee will be speaking with Trump voters here in the Tennessee Valley, their thoughts on a second Trump term and how they feel following the election results. So make sure to stick around for our evening newscast to hear from Daquan and also the results of some of those local races here in North Alabama. You're just not going to want to miss our evening newscast for all the election results, that is for sure. But now, let's take a look at the weather. I don't know about you all, but a pretty groggy day out here today, at least here in Huntsville. But how might the weather pan out for the rest of the week? Last I've heard, we are expecting some more rain, but don't just take my word for it. 48 First Alert Chief Meteorologist Brad Travis is here with the latest forecast. How's it looking, Brad?
Yeah, AJ, it's been a rather wet day at times. We still have some locally heavy rain, but out in the shoals, hey, it's sunny out there, so it's been completely different as you get east of I-65. I don't expect as much rain tomorrow. However, today didn't look that wet either. The models are really struggling, so we'll just leave it at that. We have a chance for rain tomorrow, but I think over the coming days, that chance shifts well west of us. But as you look at the shoals here, around 3:30 this afternoon, some sunshine out there. It's muggy, too. Warm and muggy, and it's been wet in some areas. Rain cooled here from Decatur up to Meridianville. Winchester definitely rain cooled at 68. Over the next 12 hours, our temperatures very much like last night. We kind of clear out the sky a little bit, some patchy fog in the morning with very light winds and temperatures in the mid to upper 60s. Over the next 3 days, we're going to get close to 80 tomorrow, Friday, Saturday. I think the clouds and showers may keep us from that. And then it's still tricky as far as the forecast goes. Looking at Friday, models have been drying Friday out quite a bit lately, and right now it looks like we're probably going to see rain chances very late Friday night into Saturday morning. We'll keep you up to date on that on the next forecast at 4, 5, 6, and 10. Back to you, AJ.
Well, thank you, Brad. And now a local story in Huntsville. A man was arrested after allegedly stabbing another man last night. Now, according to police, an officer was patrolling an area on Memorial Parkway when a person flagged them down about a situation going on at a motel parking lot. When arriving on scene, police say they found a man lying on the ground with injuries that led police to believe he was stabbed with a knife. Witnesses say the victim and suspect were in an altercation when the suspect assaulted the victim with the knife. Now, police eventually were able to locate the suspect, and he was taken into custody. 27-year-old Savannah Mallet, that is who you see on screen, was charged with first-degree assault. He was booked into the Madison County Jail, where he remains on a $10,000 bond. Of course, the victim, he was taken to Huntsville Hospital with a serious injury. So hopefully everything goes well in that situation. But now in Limestone County, where a Madison man known as the MAGA Lumberjack will go on trial for rape next year. What you're seeing on screen is a new video of Dylan Harrington leaving the Limestone County Courthouse after a hearing today. District Attorney Brian Jones says it was decided today that Harrington will be put on trial sometime next year, but an exact date has not quite been set up yet. Harrington made headlines in 2021 when he was seen on security footage throwing wood at police officers during the January 6 Capitol riots. He pled guilty in federal court to one count of assaulting, resisting, or impeding certain officers in June of last year. Just a few months later, he was arrested in Limestone County for rape. He's been in the Limestone County Jail ever since. But now here is a story, in case you missed it, an update to a shooting that happened in downtown Huntsville over the weekend. A new video has circulated from that scary situation. And 48's Callie Neese has more.
This video shows the brawl that led to a heavy police presence in downtown Huntsville in the early hours of Sunday morning. Keely Collins sent 48 this video, saying she was at Sammy T's when the fight broke out. She says it was one of the scariest things she has ever seen. Police officers say this fight led to shots being fired off. Huntsville Police Sergeant Chris Jackson says officers worked quickly to detain the suspect.
And they were notified by additional security that the subject was near the front door of the 100 block of Jefferson Street. They identified that subject as he was attempting to flee. They caught him in the parking lot and detained him. After review of some evidence that we found on scene, we were able to determine that Kellen Lucky was the person involved and did in fact fire a firearm.
Officers arrested 31-year-old Keelan Lucky and charged him with discharging a firearm into an occupied building. He is now free on bond. Jackson said this area is typically safe, but when things like this happen, Huntsville officers are committed to keeping this town safe.
We're committed to ensuring this is a safe place, and we would like to remind the public that if you see something, say something. Oftentimes, if you can tell us a situation before it gets out of hand, we can do things to prevent it from getting to that level.
Thank you, Callie. And another update for you all on a Lauderdale County judge accused of using county funds to purchase things like alcohol, guns, and of course, kitty litter. 48's Aria Pons with the story.
An audit found that Lauderdale County Judge Gil Self spent over $146,000 of county money on unauthorized expenses, such as purchasing a sofa for himself and buying other things, such as alcohol, kitty litter, eyeglasses, ammunition, and more. During last year's audit, state officials say that Self did pay back the expenses in full. However, state prosecutors say they're still ready to prove his guilt. Prosecutors filed a notice to introduce specific evidence about Self's personal trips. The evidence includes financial records, checks and bank statements from the presiding judge's Judicial Administration Fund, the Law Library Fund, and Self's bank accounts. For a few of those trips, Self allegedly paid himself from the court funds and wrote it off as a drug court trip. Prosecutors also plan to use a local magazine that details Self's bicycling trips in other parts of the country, where he wrote a check to himself for a hotel room with a memo line about a drug court trip as well. Some of the unauthorized expenses included spending more than $1,100 for 2 guns for, quote, courthouse protection. When auditors confronted Self, he couldn't show where they were held in the courtroom or his office. The state says they're ready to prove that over a 4-year period, Self regularly victimized Lauderdale County, adding that the transactions happened nearly every other month. He is set for a status hearing in December, where a trial date could be set. Reporting in Lauderdale County, Aria Pons, 48 on your side.
Thank you, Aria. And now, of course, it is Veterans Week here in Huntsville, and the annual Veterans Day Parade is coming downtown on November 11th at 11:11 a.m. Today, I got the chance to speak with 2 veterans who are part of the Veterans Day Parade Committee, Mr. John Perry and Todd Royer, and take a listen to what they had to say about this year's parade. So I understand you both are veterans yourself. Can you talk a little bit about serving in the U.S. military?
Yeah, I was actually drafted in 1970. But it was the best thing that ever happened to me, and I went in the Army about 7 years. I came down, that's how a Connecticut Yankee got down here to Redstone Arsenal, and went over to Germany 3 years, came back here, taught at the school, and finished my degree at UAH, and that's when I got out and went to the reserves. I did 30 years in the reserves.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we're very honored to be here with John. My story is probably very similar. Mm-hmm. I spent 34 years in the active Army, retired about 2 years ago. Very blessed throughout my career. I'm an aviator by trade. And when I retired, my wife said that, well, you can go anywhere you want, but I'm staying here because we love the Huntsville area. So we're really proud to be here.
Absolutely. It's a great city. I recently moved here, and I'm very impressed with it all. So very pretty place to be, that is for sure. So talk a bit about this Veterans Day Parade. I understand some changes are coming this year. Can you talk a little bit about those changes?
Sure, yeah. We're making about 3 changes this year.
Okay.
First thing, major thing we need to get out there to your viewing audience is the route change. Sure. And the route change is different. We've changed it almost every year for about the past 3 years. The route change this year kind of encircles downtown Huntsville, which is really nice, gives us a good area. And I believe the map is on your website, Channel 48 website, so people can go there. We definitely want people to get out there early. Right now, I believe the forecast is 20% chance of rain, so that means 80% no rain, so which is good. So we're looking forward to a beautiful day. The other thing we're talking about is for those that normally attend the Veterans Day breakfast, and that's on Veterans Day morning, we changed the location. We used to do it at the Roundhouse, and now we're going to do it at the Von Braun Civic Center. So that is free to veterans, and get down there about 8 o'clock, 8:30, and you can walk in. The other thing was we are now a 501c3, and what that means is we are a nonprofit. And our small committee is growing. We have about 15 people now on our committee, and we need every person we can get. So we're blessed. I can't think of anything else. So we've got a great program this year for everyone. We want to invite everyone down to the parade.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I think the parade, is really just an opportunity for us to honor veterans, those here in our community. And I think the second purpose really behind it is really to connect the veterans with the community, We are very fortunate and blessed that Huntsville is an amazing community, extremely welcoming of the military. But everything that we can do to help connect veterans to the community is a positive thing. The parade is just one aspect of that, but the committee has done other things like get involved in the school systems to help educate some of our younger populace about what it means to be a veteran and what it means to serve the nation.
Awesome interview today with Todd and John. You can find that full interview right now on our website. Just go to WAFF.com. You'll go to digital shows and then finally 48 Now. And you can also find more information about the Veterans Day Parade on our website, the routes, the rules, and more that you need to know before you go details. Very, very awesome interview today. It will also be streamed on Monday, wherever you're watching Before the Four right now. But now I believe it is time for those stories you're just not going to want to miss in our evening newscast. And some of these stories, of course, following up on the McClung family after an absolute devastating situation occurred 1 year ago. Get that story from 48's Aria Pons. Another story you're just not going to want to miss. Marshall County now being a wet county after the voters make a statement. 48 Savannah Sapp will have more on that story coming up. And finally, you're just not going to want to miss a story on a local Wheel of Fortune player. And these are just a few of the stories you're just not going to want to miss in our evening newscast. And I think it is about that time, and you all know what time it is. It is, of course, time for Facebook Fun. How could we ever forget Facebook Fun? It is just the funnest. It is. But the 48 Facebook question of the day was, what is something you learned in school but never used after graduation? And honestly, I have a lot of things I could say, but I am going to see what you all had to say. I'm thinking, for me, probably statistics or geometry or calculus. There's actually a lot I learned in school that I do not use today. But let's see what you all had to say. Kathy Riggs Little said how to diagram a sentence. That is another one. I don't think after 6th grade I have ever diagrammed a sentence. And honestly, I still to this day don't really understand the point of diagramming a sentence, but it was something to do. It was something I learned. And but yes, Kathy, I agree 100% with you. I am not using sentence diagrams, or I am not diagramming sentences today in 2024. That is for sure. Kathy, thank you so much for commenting. Alan Dement said how to dissect a frog. I was not a fan of biology. That's another thing I was not a fan of. That was the worst day. The smell just smelled so bad. Was not a fan. I agree 100% with you, Alan. Thank you so much for commenting. Harley said all math above simple addition and multiplication. Yes, that is the comment. That is the response right there. Harley, thank you for commenting. Ulysses said the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, and we all remember that, the mitochondria, the cell wall, the cell membrane, the nucleus. Of course, I remember the nucleus as the quarterback of the cell. But yeah, I'm not using any of that today. Now, some people might be using it, biologists, and whatever you do, but I am definitely not using that. And Ulysses is not either. So thank you so much for commenting. And then finally, how long it took Johnny to get to Las Vegas on the train that was going 18 miles per hour. And word problems, they were problems. That is without a doubt, word problems. Well, I was not a fan, that is for sure. Laura, thank you for commenting. I agree 100%. That is just about it for today's Before the Four, but I want to thank you all for sticking around, spending a little bit of your Wednesday afternoon with me here If you haven't done so already, make sure you download the 48 Digital app, the 48 First Alert Weather app, and the 48 Sports Zone app. Turn on those push notifications, and you will never miss a breaking story. But as always, thanks for watching. You all have a great night.